Welcome back to Amazin But True, our New York Mets podcast from the New York Post. I'm Jake Brown, alongside back in the saddle, Nelson Figueroa. Follow us on Twitter at Amazin But True. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Follow me at Jake Brown Radio. Follow Figgy at FiggyNY. And watch us on the New York Post Sports YouTube page. Give us a thumbs up below if you like what you're seeing. Comment below. What do you think of Ronny-tember? That's what I call it. Ronny Mauricio is here. And don't look now, but he is the best hitter on the New York Mets, hitting .455. So Ronnie Figgy, 5 for 11 over the weekend. We're here to talk about it. We'll stop at the Nelson Figueroa Spanish Academy later in the program. No guest today, because we do got a lot to talk about for a team, Figgy, that on August 1st was 6 games under 500 and 7 games back in the wild card when they decided to punt the season. Today, a happy Labor Day to you all as we labor talking into a microphone today. Hope you all enjoy your day off, the sun, the beach, wherever you are around the globe. Maybe you're listening to Amazin But True while getting tan on the beach, and we hope you are enjoying yourself. Today, after that soliloquy, the Mets are 11 games under 500 and still 7 games back in the wild card. Figgy, what bizarro world are we in that the Mets punted the season like they're Steve Weatherford, and today they're still 7 out, and 13-year-old Jake in 2004 would be looking at the standings saying, you're staying, there's still a chance. Like, I'd be looking till they're mathematically done. Listen, we know they're not going to make the playoffs, Figgy, but they're still mathematically alive and play all the teams in front of them, where if they were to take care of business, it would be a hell of a story. Again, it's not going to happen, but we got to lay it out there, Figgy.
Oh, absolutely have to lay it out there because you just never know. This is unbelievable. The one time where you think, okay, you understand the move, very low, 12% chance of making the playoffs. So the writing's on the wall. The team is the oldest team in baseball. You got a chance to get much, much younger. Sustainability, to have a farm system that you can pull guys up from, and they are viable ball players that can help your team for the foreseeable future. It all seemed like it made sense. And now you sit here a month later and start thinking, what if you would have just kept some of the band together? What if you would have kept your closer? What if you would have kept your number one starter? Not necessarily Scherzer, because he was still struggling, but Verlander. You keep Verlander and you have another ace for next 2 years at least. Senga's been pitching tremendous. Quintana has yet to disappoint. I mean, what if? And that's the problem for Met fans, right? We do this all the time. There's a huge what if that hangs over us. You just never know, but you do think that the team is set up nicely for the future. You're seeing that core that we talked about that didn't go away. The core is starting to play better. They're hitting better. They're scoring runs. And they just, took 2 out of 3 from a first place team, a team that was the hottest team in baseball, 22-7 in the month of August, to pole vault themselves over everybody in their division. Remember that Texas was ahead of that division by 6 games on August 1st. And now they're 7.5 games back after an unbelievable August. And September hits, and it is time to see what Ronny Mauricio can do. And the first thing that he did was break StatCast, 117-mile-an-hour double in the gap.
The nerds were jumping out of the chair. The nerds were going crazy.
But remember, I vividly recall when everybody was saying, when we saw Ellie De La Cruz do the same thing for the Reds, right? He came up, boom, sparked it. Everything he did was StatCast. You know what's funny is it a superstar like him? And I said, absolutely. He's fully capable of doing a lot of similar things. He's a similar build, similar type player. He's got the speed. I said, it's just been a position thing where they don't know where they want to put him. And they keep moving him around, right? First thing he does, boom, hardest hit ball by a Met all season at 117 miles an hour, stealing bases, playing good defense. So all the things that you said you were waiting for were right there this whole time. And even if you had brought him up in August, it could have changed things just slightly, but I don't know the reason why. But he's finally here, and I'm glad to see him.
And it was infuriating that it didn't happen in July, because you bring him up in July before you punt away the season. It might change your approach a little bit if he does provide that spark. And the Twitter experts will say, "Oh, no, you're wrong. They brought him up at the perfect time. He wasn't ready defensively, or he wasn't all the way there yet." You don't know jack crap. I'll keep it clean and make it easier for Hearts because he's in Spokane, Washington,
Oof.
touring right now. So it's early for him. So we'll keep it easy on the edits. But you don't know. Like, you don't know if they brought him up in July. And listen, I don't know if they brought him up in July, be good. But you got to see it to know it. So we didn't get to even see it. Now they're saying, he was dealing with an injury. Maybe they were worried about his injury, wasn't stealing as many bases. Listen, it could be the right time now, but you're right. You're thinking, what if? What if you didn't punt? What if you did punt, but you brought him up in August? By the time it was August and they punted, their thought was probably service time, and we get the extra year, which you get
No,
mad at
no,
because you got the
no.
richest owner in the sport. That
Right,
shouldn't matter. I
exactly my
agree.
point.
But, it is interesting. And yeah, he looked good. Line drives. He didn't really have anything tough in the field that we could judge him. But, he looks comfortable at second base. And again, like I said before, Daniel Murphy played almost a gold glove second base after looking like inept in the outfield. So second base is a position you could put a guy and they could have some success. So I think that might be the move where you play him at second, you move McNeil to left field, and boom, McNeil hits one right above me in the Cadillac Club. Shout out to Cadillac. I had a blast there Sunday. I thought it was going to roll through the crevice and I was going to get it. I was hoping for Ronny Mauricio's first home run ball, and I'd have to barter and hope for $1,000 instead of an autograph. Be like I hit a parlay, would be catching Ronnie Mauricio's first ball. But yeah, it makes you think. But yeah, like you said, 2 stolen bases. And what was interesting about the stolen bases is he didn't get the greatest jump in the world. He's just so fast. And with the new rules, it's easier to steal bases, obviously. But he didn't beat them by a mile. He beat the second one on Sunday. He beat the second one Sunday by like a hair. But he's just got such natural gifted ability, Figgy, that, and those line drives, scorching double, a couple seeing eye singles. He's finding the hole up the middle. Like, he looks good, this kid, and he looks like he could be a keeper. And it's going to be interesting here because you get 25 more games kind of here if he plays all of them to see what he's got. And if he continues to perform well, will that be enough for him to fight for a starting spot on the 2024 Mets roster? That's going to be what to watch for here.
One of the things that you look at, of course, when it comes to like the baby Mets and their development is consistency, right? When Beatty came up, we were like, oh, yeah, this is a keeper. This is a foundational piece. He's going to be at third base forever. Get rid of Escobar. We don't need him. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, my God, what's going on? He can't catch a pop-up. Ground balls are a problem too. His batting continues to drop down. He can't hit off of lefties. We're like, what's going on? So they send him down to the minors to, get his bearings a little bit, which is the right move. That's another thing that we weren't used to seeing, is that they were afraid to call up guys to send them down. That's part of the process. That's part of the growth process. He goes down there, he's probably talking with Mauricio every day, giving Mauricio some good vibes about, dude, you're going to get your chance and it's going to happen, and keeping him, headstrong. I was in Syracuse this weekend and got to talk with the GM and the clubhouse kids that are around, asked them some questions about Mauricio, how's he doing down here? And they said, he's good. He plays his game, he has a smile on his face. He works hard and, he's just waiting for his opportunity. That's one of the frustrating things, of course. But now that he has the opportunity and you know that they're going to give him these 30 days to not just prove what he can do, but again, he's going to make mistakes. He's got to be able to learn from them, make adjustments. The league makes adjustments to you, show that you can hit the breaking ball. That was been the big knock on him, is that his exit velocity and everything off fastballs is top notch, but it's the breaking balls that he gets this kind of weak swing to just make contact and put it in play that weren't happy with. They want him to take that same aggressive swing and have that same aggressive approach to try and do damage. And if say you're the idea, right, swing, shoot for the moon, and if you land amongst the stars, that's the kind of thing that the new baseball approach is. If you're putting a hard swing on it and it doesn't go for a home run, it might fall in for in the gap or go down the lines or whatever it may be. But I think you have to see him kind of letting it go, because he is very gifted. I think that's the same of all of them. And I think we have to discuss as well Alvarez, the decline in Alvarez. So over the month of August, it's been hard to watch because you keep expecting him to. What happened to the guy that would step up there with that swagger and the 2 home run a night capability? And I haven't seen that in him. I haven't seen that same swagger. He just looks like he's worn down already, and that's concerning. He's not playing every day. He's not the everyday guy that you hoped he would be when, all the other catchers got hurt. You're like, this kid's young. He can play every day. If he's worn out already by August, that's a huge concern because his batting is under 200 from the month of from August 1st on. The power numbers aren't there. We were thinking, man, this guy's got a shot at rookie of the year when he was batting almost 260. That has plummeted to down to, he's right around the 200 mark. And those home runs, once he got over 20, they're not there either. So it's a tough grind for these baby Mets, but this is where they have to learn and prove that they can do it on an everyday basis.
You wonder if he's gassed at this point or what the reasoning is behind it. It's going to be interesting to see if he could do anything the next few weeks. You're right. Like, it was like every other day, Alvarez was like hitting a homer. It was must-see TV. And now he can't even hit anything. I mean, he has a single here and there, but he's not even hitting the gaps. He's not hitting extra base hits. So the Alvarez, demise here is concerning. I mean, I still think he's the catcher next season. It might just be, he's just tired. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's why we're seeing Narvaez so much. Maybe Alvarez, he's seeing that he's just gassed. But, these baby Mets got to play. Like, I know Vientos hurt his foot Saturday. That's why he was out Sunday. But cannot take it with Vogelbach. In what world? I'm sitting there Saturday night, enjoying myself, and
whoa,
in the suite, of course, with some Genie and all the good BetMGM people. But Daniel Vogelbach hits a single in the 9th inning. In what world did he think it was smart to try for second base? J.P. Crawford, you see in the video, he's looking like, did this fat ass really try to go to second base? I'm sorry, I'm fat too, so I could call it. A fat guy could call a guy fat because we relate. I stepped on the scale, and I think I'm up to like 240, and I'm like, holy crap.
That diet's going well. What is that? Egg whites and spinach?
It's the City 15, we call it. Not the freshman 15, the City 15. Yeah, those egg whites they've been sitting in the fridge. There's still a lot of them left. But that's just one of the moves you're like, one, why is he clogging the lineup? Now he's clogging the base pass like he does. Stand first, put LeCastro to pinch run, which they did after I believe it was Alvarez actually got a single. Then they put LeCastro, who kept like falling over when trying to steal second. I was like, Timmy boy, like, you got one job and you can't even stay on your feet. But I'm like, Vogie, stand first. They'll get your ass out of there. You did your job. You got to hit. Thank you.
It's all about the bigger bases, bro.
Yeah. My philosophy was, and it might be a little mean, is put a picture of a salad on the big jumbotron and have him look at that. Put a Caesar salad at second base.
He'd run the other way.
Exactly. So put it at second base. Put a big salad. Put a picture right above second there. And as he's going to run at second, he looks at the salad and he quickly goes back to first. I think that is genius. I would do the same thing. So they need to put a picture of the healthiest foods possible after he hits a single. But that was such a buzzkill. It continues to remind you, why is he taking up like Alvarez, Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio every day? None of this Vogelbach crap hitting fifth. And, Buck's argument will be like, he gives us the better chance to win. We're still in the race. But he doesn't. He really doesn't. You don't know that these baby Mets aren't going to provide a spark that he can't. So I don't get it with Vogelbach. He's not part of the future. Why does he continue to play? And I've said it on this show. I will say it. Alonso loves him. They're best buddies. And Alonso tells him, play my guy. And I don't think that's the whole reason, but I think that's part of it. The other part of it is, Buck loves his veterans, Figgy. Buck loves his guys, his old reliable. He just loves Vogelbach. I don't know what it is. He just loves him. But as a fan, Figgy, it is infuriating to watch him. And sure, he hits the occasional homer and he gets the occasional hit. But when things like him getting thrown out by 8 miles, cue the Eminem, at second base in the ninth inning of a one-run game, like the Mets were very close to sweeping the first place Mariners. And that played a big factor, obviously, Ottavino giving up the homer in the ninth that killed him. But that could have been a different inning, and you sweep. You never know. So it's very frustrating continuing to watch this guy put in the lineup.
There's no way you can make sense of it. There's no way Ronny Mauricio, we said it a long time ago. You're talking about a guy who's making, I think it's barely $2 million. So you want to talk about expendable? If you can throw away all that other cash on all these other guys, expendable would have been Vogelbach. And I don't know the reasons. I'm tired of hearing about the exit velocity metrics and how he's just off from a season ago. When you're just off, then you're just off. A decline happens for everybody and for whatever reason. It doesn't matter if you have other options.
And Buck even pointed to that the other night. He talked about Vogie. He said, "Oh, we came close. Vogie hit a line drive, and it was gone." I'm like, "Who cares if he hit a line drive? The ball was gone."
Yeah, no, that's so. The new baseball, the statistics that don't matter anymore to them is batting average, right? What they're looking at is the probability is increased by how hard you hit the ball. So if you hit the ball over 100 miles an hour, the probability skyrockets that you're going to get a hit. The shift used to really negate that because now there was less of a probability. The harder you hit it normally was pull side. So if you had everybody in the pull side, 3 guys on the pull side, then made it a lesser chance for the ball to get in there. So now you had to try to elevate the ball. Ball elevated in the air and it's not 100 mile an hour, probably gets caught. And those are easier for outfielders to handle and players to handle, especially professionals. One hop smashes out 100 miles an hour in the infield. Doesn't really matter. That they got to make a good play and stay in front of that thing. So that's always been the thing. If you're going to swing that hard, they'd rather you swing for the fences than just trying to put the ball in play. It's the new baseball. But as you love, how about a bunt? If they're shifting everybody over, even they still shift over on these guys without going across the base. They still leave third base line open. How about, being able to just slap the ball the other way, put it in place softly. I was just up in Syracuse again with the fantasy camp, mini camp, and watching these old school guys, who kept complaining the whole time about, guys can't hit the other way, guys can't. And I laughed at them the whole time because I go, it's not as easy as you think it is. It was named the Ted Williams shift for a reason. It was to stop Ted Williams from batting 400, and it worked. So if the greatest hitters in the world are having troubles to making adjustments to it, then it's not something as simple as just do it. Besides all that, the pitching side of things is something we have to talk about because you got 2 guys that are getting major opportunities to prove that they belong for the rotation next year. And if the team isn't truly going to, invest big money into starters that are coming out, and then there's not many names that jump off the page at you. There's no Verlanders, that's for sure. Then these 2 guys, Peterson and McGill, they're going to have to step up their game in a major way because right now you're kind of like, nah, take it or leave it.
And even, Sunday he pitched well, 3 runs. He was fine. Peterson Saturday, 4 runs is fine. But world beaters right now. The good thing about the free agent class, it is a pretty good middle tier. They're saying it's one of the better, that's not the Verlanders, the high end Hall of Famers, but there are a lot of names. There are a lot of guys who've had some career success. No one that's gonna, change your franchise. But there are guys out there. I think they're going to be very much in the running for Yamamoto. I think they're going to go for Urias. They're going to go for a guy like Nola. Maybe Nola stays in the division. Wouldn't hate a Yamamoto, Nola. I doubt they'll get Urias, all 3 of those, but wouldn't hate those 2 and then one other name. Hopefully not like a Michael Lorenzen. I hope they could do a little bit better than that. But I still don't think these guys are doing enough. They might do enough to start the year in AAA. They might do enough to fight for a 5th spot. But, it's nice to see them at least keep the Mets in games because, a couple of weeks ago, Figgy McGill was like 7 runs, 8 runs. They weren't even in the game. So you see, if you have starters that keep them in the game, and that's why we're not going to go crazy about them still being 7 out because they just don't have the pitching. Cookie, they put on waivers. No one wanted him, and they're basically quitting on starting Cookie, which is probably smart because he was just getting absolutely pounded. But, they just don't have the guys, the horses, to make it a legit playoff race. And they don't have the guys in the middle relief. Hartwig was fascinating for a couple of weeks, and now he's just been terrible. Trevor Gott is we know is just is the walking white flag.
God awful.
God awful. Drew Smith, we know him. He's just awful. And then Ottavino's been inconsistent. So they just don't have across the board from starters to bullpen enough to keep this thing interesting. But you know, that's the thing. Is McGill gonna even have a shot to compete? I don't think we've seen enough Figgy out of those guys.
Well, we've seen him for 3 years. This isn't a small. This isn't a small sample size. This isn't let's see what these kids can do in September. It's their first time go around. We've seen for 3 years they've got an opportunity, and it's been at mixed levels, mixed intervals, or whatever. But
they've teased us in little sprinkles.
That's the problem. Is not just the teasing. Is that when you have two Hall of Fame right-handed pitchers sitting in the same locker room as you, and you are declining so quickly, you're regressing so quickly as if you've never pitched in the big leagues before, and you're overwhelmed by the moment. It reminds you of Steven Matz. Remember how Steven Matz used to speak about that 4 years into the big leagues? Man, the game's really speeding up on me as they're playing Cincinnati. That shouldn't be happening. Like, the mental toughness is something that you should absorb, and watching their game and how cool and calm that they are. Right, the mental game is physically you should be getting bigger and stronger. You should understand your body more, and look at Noah Syndergaard. You got to change your workouts. You're not lifting heavy during the season. All those different things. You're trying to get more flexible. You're trying to eat right. All those different things. Like there's a whole slew of, like, there should be an encyclopedia in the clubhouse. Hey, what to do and what not to do. And as you flip through it, you know what? I'm having a problem with this. Let me see if there's a history of anybody dealing with something like this. Oh, good. There's reference points to it. As fans, we know this. Like, we can equate, like, when Harvey was going through all the stuff that Harvey was going through, Doc Gooden was the perfect guy to talk with him. You know what happened? They never got to talk. The availability was there. Doc said, all ears. He never reached out to me. And that's a tremendous resource to have. You have a resource like Max Scherzer. You have a resource like Justin Verlander, who's gone through Tommy John at the age that he did. What did it take to come back from that? What did you do differently? Because when you came back, he didn't just come back and throw a baseball. He had his best season ever at a 1.70 ERA and a Cy Young. Mm-hmm. You have to be a student of the game and not just happy to be in the big leagues and just trying to, hide, I guess, in the plain sight. Because this is New York, and you were at times when you replaced Jacob deGrom as the opening day starter, everybody's like, what are we doing? And then you pitched his butt off, and you're like, man, this kid's actually really, really good. Sitting at 98, 99 miles an hour. The velo hasn't been there. We haven't seen the same velo out of him. The breaking stuff hasn't looked as good. The changeup, which was one of his best weapons, hasn't been as good. So there's a regression there. And I can't for the life of me understand how the pitching coach, you're not fixing or changing those other two guys. Your project is Peterson and McGill. You got to get these guys better, because if they're better, Senga is who he is because he came over a finished product from Japan. Those three guys are, you know what? You just keep the motor running. You don't add mods to it. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to add a turbo to those Cadillacs. You let those Cadillacs be Cadillacs. Now I got these two young studs. Listen, guys, sit them down. This is make or break for you guys. You guys want to make a lot of money in this game, or you guys want to just get by? You're going to keep going down to AAA and big leagues because we're not going to have room to keep having mediocre starts. This team is wanting to win and win now. You want to be part of that? We've got to change some things, whether it's the way you're the pitch usage, the way you're pitching, your lack of execution. We were just talking about that on the hitting side, right? Swing for the fences. Whatever happens, happens. You can't do that in pitching. You can't just throw the ball up there and hope for the best. You got to be able to execute still, and I think that's what's lacking in both their games.
Shout out to Cadillac. Yeah, Hefner's getting fired. I mean, Jeremy Hefner will not be back. I'm just, I don't have a source report. I'm just going to go with my gut that they're going to fire. Like, he's just I'm just going to say it. When it happens, first reported by Jake Brown. Right? First, Ken Rosenthal, Jake Brown. Right? The day that happens in a tweet will be the day we all die. I think. I would love for it to happen, but I don't see it. But yeah, man, I don't think they're part of the future here. And you can put them back in AAA again, and maybe they're your 6 and 7 starters when the inevitable injuries happen. But we got to see better performances. And like you're right. I mean, we've 2 years of it, and we did the sprinkles. I mean, McGill looked like Jacob DeGrom for a month, and then got hurt, and then it never was the same. So we'll see what happens there. Pete Alonso, continues doing Pete Alonso things. 2 homers, 41 homers. The only 5th player in MLB history to have 340+ homers in his first 5 years. He had 16 in that 60 game season. When you want to extrapolate,
Well,
that he would
I
have
get
40.
mad. Yeah, I get mad every time somebody talks about, oh, his first 5 years, he's still under Ralph Kiner and all those guys. I go, yeah, but do you remember one of those years was only 60 games?
Yeah.
And it
So
wasn't
really,
because he
it's
got hurt.
it's
only
really
60
3 and
games.
4 years. It's 3 out of 4 years because 37 in 2021. So he's been fantastic. I'm not going to keep harping on it. We've talked about it in the past. I said if you get the right haul, you trade him. If you don't get the right haul, you keep him, and he stays. That's it. Period. No more drama. I'm just
Yeah,
going to
but
leave it.
easy, Mary J. Blige. What exactly would be the right haul? Because it'd have to be major league ready now. It would have to be a frontline starter now. So a team like Seattle, say, they've got Ty France over there now, who's their all-star first baseman. Also leads the league in getting hit, a la Pete Alonso style. They've got a couple of starters. The Kirby kid who's from White Plains, or Rye, New York, I should say. Would be an interesting get because he's
I
so
don't
young
think they
and
would
he's
give
been a
France.
fantastic starter.
I don't think they give France and Kirby. That's the. I mean,
No, but that's what I'm
if you
saying.
got
If they're
both,
gonna,
you would do that, but they wouldn't
oh,
get that much.
I don't think they would either. But what I'm saying is that there's nobody that's going to give up a frontline starter. I mean, that's literally what you have to get. You have to get something of that magnitude. You can't get me a double A kid who projects well. You can't get me
I
even a
agree.
triple A kid who put up good numbers. I think you have to have somebody that's going to inject right into the rotation and is going to have to be, basically your number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I don't really see it happening. I think the talk is the talk. I think it's interesting how, different media outlets are pulling in different ideas or concepts of reasons why. But everyone I've talked to, and I was around the guys in Syracuse, a lot of Mets people were around, just talking with them, and they don't understand why this guy is getting that much flack all the way around. And I liken it to when I was with the Phillies. Larry Boa came in as the manager, and he did everything he could to paint Scott Rowland as the villain. When Scott Rowland didn't play because his back generally couldn't handle it, and he'd take a few days off and try to play without going on the DL, he would go in the paper and say how he's killing us because we can't use him off the bench. And hey, there's 25 guys on the roster. You should be able to withstand that. This guy is saying that if I can give you one at bat, I'm going to try. Don't get rid of me for the 15-day DL back then. Don't get rid of me for half a month. It's not, I could think I can play through this in a few days. I just need a few days. Playing on that turf in the vet stadium used to kill him. But he had everything against Scott Rowland, had the fans booing Scott Rowland. I mean, this is the franchise player, and he turned the whole city against him, right? And I saw that firsthand. This is the manager that is just going in the paper and saying, hey, you know what the problem is the middle of our lineup is killing us. Pat Burrell had 30 home runs. Bobby Abreu was batting 330 or something like that. And the only guy that wasn't up to snuff was Scott Rowland. So you can't say the middle of the lineup is killing. He's like, why don't you call me out by name? Just call me out by name. Be a man. Don't say the middle of the lineup as if the other guys aren't picking us up. He's like, they're doing their job. Just say my name next time. So it's hard to see somebody, and it's the first time I've seen it in a long time, that your star player is just getting attacked from left, right, and center. And there's no one that's stepping up and saying, yeah, I know that for a fact. I've seen it, or my source is. It's just interesting to me. It's just really interesting because I'm waiting for the first person to have the balls to do it.
Are you adding me?
No subtweet. No, no
At
sub.
Jake Brown Radio. I'm waiting to see if you have the balls to say what you know.
No subtweeting. It's just in this day and age of all the information that is out there, and you hear that the teammates are going to bat. They want to speak to ownership about keeping Pete. Like, I've never heard of that before either. Like in the Phillies clubhouse, it was literally it was the light versus the dark. The guys that wore red shirts, like, all were one side of the clubhouse, or thought a certain way, had a team philosophy. The guys that were wearing black t-shirts, like during batting practice, it was crazy. Like, we're like, why are you wearing black t-shirts? We don't wear black. We're a red and white team. And there was a group of guys that wore these black t-shirts because they just thought they could. And we sat back, and there were guys that were in the middle watching this, and veteran players going, what is going on in here? Like, they're trying to have two sides of this team where we're supposed to be on the same side trying to win this thing. And we finished 2 games out of first place back when there was no wild cards or anything. So the Braves had won 12 straight Eastern Division championships. And we were a team with 5 rookies. We had Jimmy Rollins being one of them. And we almost took over for the Braves. And it was crazy to think we were just 2 games out, with all the animosity going on, all the things going on. And then Scott Rowland went on, of course, to St. Louis and won a World Series. And now he's a Hall of Famer. And just, I never seen anything like that, where the management got the city to turn on him, because everybody loved Boa. Philadelphia loved Boa. They still do. He went back there as a coach. And remember the fight with Daniel Murphy on the bat flip that he told him he's going to get him hit in the ribs. Like, he was just an old school guy that just didn't get it. He wanted Scott Rowland to be the leader in a way that, he's like, go tell that guy he needs to do his job, and go yell at that guy. And he goes, no, that's your job. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like that guy. I come to work every day and give my all, just like that guy. He's like, if you think he's giving less than an effort, that's your job as the manager to go do that.
Well, we'll see how this Pete Alonso situation plays out. The Mets will take on the Nationals Tuesday and Wednesday. A weird little, which I hate, 2-game series, and then Thursday is an off day. We'll have a new episode drop on Thursday, which is also the first game of the NFL season. So glad football is back. And then Mets go to Minnesota over the weekend. And then, it's interesting. Like I said before, you have 4 against the D-backs and 3 against the Reds, 3 against the Marlins. You have 10 straight games against those teams that are all bunched up tied for the wild card 3rd spot. It is currently a 1, 2, 3, 4-way tie for the 3rd wild card. Diamondbacks, Marlins, Giants, Reds. You play 3 of them back to back to back. So that's going to be we'll see if the Mets, if Ronny Mauricio carries them and they win some games, maybe they get within, and we joked about this. We're like, I'm going to hate if they tease us and get within 3 games. And there is a possibility if they beat those teams, I told
you that
they will. And that with that schedule, that it could happen. But it is Ronny-tember. Figgy, I have a little thing I thought of. I like music. We did Ghostbusters with the Ghost Forkball. With copyrights, we can't play music. But in post, we can maybe add the little karaoke instrumental and match it up with my words. But do you know the song Timber by Pitbull and Kesha? You've heard of it?
I'm going down.
It's going down. That's a classic. I'm going down. It's a classic mix-up of lyrics there. Could mean so many different things. But yes, Pitbull, Timber. So I'll just sing the 4-bar chorus, and this will be the theme of September for the Mets. You ready? Here we go. Hopefully Zoom doesn't crap out because I'm singing, thinking that it's a song. But
I mean, they might think it's pro.
My voice isn't good enough. I would hope that's not the case. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's going down. It's Ronny-tember. You better hit. You better steal. Let's make a month. You will remember. I'll be the one you won't forget. Oh, it's Ronny-tember. Oh, it's Ronny-tember. How do you like that one? Pretty good, right? Masterful.
Masterful. That was what came to mind, really.
On that note, we'll go from the Jake Brown Singing Academy to the Nelson Figueroa Spanish Academy. Next on Amazin But True.
Bienvenidos, mi gente, a la Academia de Español del Nelson Figueroa. Brought to you by Goya. No, I can't even say that, can I?
Mets corduroy hat.
Oh, that thing's awful.
It's very much thrift shoppy. It doesn't fit my big fat head very well, but like I felt like I just got out of thrift shopping. Thoughts and prayers to my thrift shop, Buffalo Exchange, now gone in Astoria. But it's a cool little vintage look, though. I gotta say, I did want to go to get this on Saturday. I'm glad I did, and it is kind of cool. I also got a cool little shell. Shout out to Jeannie and her son. Custom shells by Andrew Wells. Now, it's a variety of uses. It could be an ashtray for those who partake in those activities, and you could put like keys in it. You put like keys, put gum.
Perdóname.
Sorry, but yeah, cool shell, right?
Perdóname, Jacobo.
Sorry,
Jacobo. Cállate la boca.
ADD.
Estamos en clase y estás hablando inglés.
Sí.
¿Y por qué?
Sorry.
Said you're in Spanish class and you're talking English, and with your ADD, HDD.
How do you say ADHD?
Stay focused. Here we go.
How do you say ADHD in Spanish?
Jacobo Café. That's how you say it.
Okay, go.
A September to remember. Un septiembre para recordar.
Good God. Un septiembre?
No, hey.
It was Jewish Heritage Day. Listen, my guy Matis Yahoo performed. I had to get my Hebrew on there on Sunday. Un septiembre
para recordar.
Para recordar. Un septiembre para recordar.
What? How there an L? Why is there an L in there?
Say it again.
Un septiembre para recordar.
Un septiembre para recordar.
Arugula. How are we getting back to Jewish heritage now?
Arugula. Challah bread. Say it again. Un septiembre.
It's just like September, except the R is before the E. Un septiembre.
Un septiembre
para recordar.
Para recordar. But there's L's in there, it sounds like. Recordar.
Not a single. No, recordar. Record. Remember.
Oh, recordar. Okay. Un septiembre para recorder. Hot cross buns. 3rd grade, Jake Brown. Un septiembre para recorder.
Oh God!
Say it again. Recordar.
Recordar. Yeah,
recordar. Un septiembre, Anthony Recker. Un septiembre. Para recordar. All right, I think un septiembre para recordar.
Okay, and now because you came up with that fantastic song, oof,
hit single. Download on Spotify.
It's going down. I'm yelling timber.
Yes.
Está bajando. Estoy gritando madera.
I was hoping for you to sing the whole thing. All right. Slow. I got to write it down slower. Está who?
Bajando.
Bajando. Oh, I like that word. Bajando. Okay.
Estoy gritando madera.
Gritando Miranda?
Madera.
Moderna?
Nope. Take out the N and then you got it.
Madera. Is that it?
Madera.
Está bajando. Wait, so it's going down is está bajando estoy?
No.
It's está bajando. That's it. Okay. Está bajando is going down. I'm yelling timber.
Oh boy, this is.
I'm trying to get
I can smell the wood burning.
Está bajando.
Smell the wood burning.
See, it's 3. It's tougher with the 3 long words. Está bajando. Estoy gritando madera. It's hard. It's hard to put in song form. Está bajando, estoy gritando, madera. You can't. It's two big words to put it in song. It's really tough. Está
So
bajando.
take out the estoy, which means I am,
Okay.
and then yelling timber. It's
Okay.
going down, yelling timber.
Okay.
Great. Go ahead.
Está bajando, gritando madera.
No, go up with it. Up with it.
I'm going down. It's yelling timber. Está bajando, gritando madera. What?
There you go.
Changing the
Yeah, I don't know
language
what you're doing with the
makes it
hands.
tougher. It's
Doesn't
going
it?
down. Está bajando. I'm yelling. Está bajando. Gritando madera.
There you go.
Está bajando. Gritando madera. Está bajando. Gritando madera.
Oh, man. We messed this one up.
And that wraps up.
Uf. Gracias por tu participación.
Can you sing it one time for me? Close it out with you singing it. Go.
Está bajando, gritando madera.
Well, that is the sweet sounds of Ozuna. We'll close out the show next. Alrighty, Figgy, that'll close out episode. I don't even know anymore. I think it's 177 of Amazing But True. Good God, that's a lot of episodes. Our New York Mets podcast from the New York Post.
Thanks to you, Jake, and Andrew Hartz, especially because he's going to have to do a lot of editing on this show. Subscribe to Amazing But True on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to the New York Post Sports YouTube page to watch all episodes. Find that Amazing But True playlist. Give us a thumbs up below on the YouTube and comment your thoughts. Why are you watching this team the rest of the season? What are you looking for? Follow us on Twitter at Amazin But True, at FiggyNY, and at Jake Brown Radio.
Yeah, thanks to Pix11. I was a guest 11 p.m. Sunday night. Had a good time with Joe. I always say Joe. How do you say his last Mauricio? How do you say his last name?
No, that would be Mauricio.
Charcuterie board? Charcuterie?
Masseri. Really
Masseri.
tough one.
Joe Masseri.
Tough one.
So thanks to Joe. I look good on there. You know, did a good job talking Mets and Jets as the Jets season. If you're a Jets fan, listen to this show. Gang's All Here podcast. It all begins this week. We get rolling with a season preview and then twice a week. So you'll have Mets twice a week. You have Jets 4 Jake episodes a week. So God bless you. If you listen to all 4, I'll get you a cookie next time I see you. So tune in to Gang's All Here. And yeah, thanks. Pix11 had a good time on there. Hopefully I'll be on with you. And, I almost flat. I was like, let me make it professional, but I had this ready. I was like, should I put I was like, you were there in spirit somewhere in the distance. So had a good time on there. You had a good time at the US Open, although it ended at 2 a.m. Got home at 3 a.m. and it took about 45 minutes to get an Uber out of there. The Uber is buying the flying saucers where they filmed Men in Black. They make you walk all the way over there. I'm walking down. I felt like I was Jason Aldean in a dirt road anthem. I was walking down a dirt road in the park trying to get to the Uber spot. I was like half a mile. I'm like, how do you make it? And then once you go there, you're trapped. There's nowhere in that area buying the flying saucers where there's any form of human life at the 2 a.m. hour that you're trapped there. And it was an absolute crap show. But, it's a cool experience. And the Honey Deuce is the greatest drink ever made. I mean, that is the greatest drink I've ever had, the Honey Deuce. Is it worth $22? It tastes that good. We only had 1 or 2. There are people who had stacks. They were doing the Steve Gelb stack a cup in Wrigley Field. They had like 12 snake cups of Honey Deuces. So great time there. And a good weekend. The Mets nearly swept the first place team. So 2 games coming up against the Nationals in DC. Enjoy those games. I'll be back on Thursday with a new episode. And Figgy, the vibes are better. The team's a little bit more watchable with these young guys in the lineup with Beatty in there, with Mauricio getting on, stealing bases. A much better product to watch him with DJ Stewart. We didn't mention. Shout out to him.
Ooh, I know it.
He was just hitting dingers and robbing balls. I mean, they call him my doppelganger. I was right behind him yesterday. He made a running great catch. I still don't think I am, although I've been gaining weight to the point where I'm starting. My cheeks are getting DJ Stewart-esque here coming up. So we need the season end, but he continues to rake.
Yeah, shout out to him because Pete Alonso has 17 home runs since August 1st. DJ has 10, second on the team in both home runs and RBIs. And who would have thunk it? So he's a former first rounder, getting an opportunity and making the most of it. This is what we said. The young kids have to, but guys like that, get an opportunity, and you just never know what happens. Even if he's let go by the Mets, people are going to say, hey, when he had an opportunity, he did pretty well.
Go DJ. That's my DJ. We'll close out the show in a positive manner because the Mets won in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's go Mets.
Happy Labor Day, everybody.